Well, hello there, and welcome to another episode of. I'm not going to try to do an English accent. Hello there! I'm this old gamer, and I'm thrilled to have you along for the ride today as we are all set for a special little mini series in a series. It is a three-part special, maybe a four-part special of The Mansions, a suburb series. And today we are focused on this little area as we took a look at the high level of security looking on top of the balcony of our little mansion park area next to the lighthouse. Today we are building another mansion, and what this series is going to be is just this coastline. It's going to be some humongous houses, some really nice places. So I figured instead of doing one long episode with all these mansions we're building along here, I'm actually going to do kind of like a mansion at a time because I'm doing a lot of detail on these mansions. They're right on the coast. I want them to look really good. Hey, I didn't even say terraforming that time, and it still went off. Oh well. So what we are doing is we are building a mansion at a time, and today we are working on our first mansion. This is the Villa Geogri Geo Geogi by Mons, M-O-N-S, in case you're wondering, on the workshop. This got a 4-star rating, but this is a 5.5, 5 3/4 at least, in my opinion. It's a beautiful asset, a beautiful mansion, and it looks great along this coast. The first couple of mansions that we're doing over here are going to be very, very large. And then as we go down the coast, they'll get a little bit smaller. One thing that I have to kind of keep into consideration is there are several different mansions and several different sizes on the workshop. They don't all necessarily go together, so yeah, I'm just trying to make sure that we get the right combination of mansions. But I'm kind of doing these, like I said, an episode at a time. That's episode at a time. That's why I've kind of did a different vibe to this episode. So yes, we are starting off with a doing some terrain modification. I'm not going to say the T word. And we're putting down some of these decals by King Leno to give this yard a little bit more of a polished look compared to the other mansion that did not have this very, very nice yard. This is actually going to be a mansion that is lived in, where our first mansion there that you saw is actually a park along with the lighthouse. That's actually a park open to the public. This one is actually a private property. So we are putting in this stone driveway, and then we're going to extend these decals. These decals look fantastic. And we have this little hill and this little ridge. I'm going to show you how we're going to incorporate that all in. So these decals look really good. I don't know anybody that personally that mows their yard in these kind of patterns, but boy, that must really be tricky, right? So we're putting a few decals around the shore. Just a beautiful area for some huge houses. Obviously, these are the most wealthy of the most wealthy of the most wealthy on Sloop John Island, right here, right off the edge of the suburbs. So as we are building this, I should say that, this area of the suburbs goes without saying, it is definitely a nicer part of town. And those houses that we built on episode 3, I believe, episode 3, episode 4, the houses that we built, the little suburb area that we built there, is certainly higher end residents, but these are above the higher end. These are the one percenters, as a common term is. I'm bringing these decals all the way down the hill, as you can see here, kind of doing some finagling of them, getting them in place. This hill and terrain, a little dirty. And what I thought we could do right here is actually use our network slope tool. So we're going to go to our networks here. We're picking the large 2x1 slope. Just kind of throwing it in there, and we're going to get that into place. And what that allows us to do is it gives this hill less of the rugged look and more of just a straight down slope with grass. And then we can kind of do a little terrain and landscaping to kind of put this all together. These network slopes I used in downtown. I will put a link to the episode that I used them on. I highly recommend checking these slopes out. You can do a whole lot with them. They can be a little tricky, but I'm going to show you a little something that you can do to help with where they end, because the biggest problem with these is where they end, you have this large hole in the side of the slope. So that's something that you have to kind of work around, and there is a way to do that, and it involves procedure objects, which I'll show you momentarily. So we're just getting these decals into position. Now I'm using Surface Painter to give that a greener look. We're just going to extend these all the way down so they're just kind of running right into the slope. Now we are going to use some juniper trees. Find the right one I want to use. Yeah, we're going to use these juniper trees and go along here just like so. They are actually attached to the actual ground. The slope is not a surface, so it is just a faked out surface just to make it appear like there's a hill there. So those trees are actually sticking into the ground. We'll extend our slope over here. The slope network, of course, like anything else, has nodes, and you can adjust that however you want. Now here, I'm just using procedure objects. I'm using a blank oval shaped white procedure objects. I used the default wood, and then we kind of trimmed it down to make that hole get filled in. And then we're just going to kind of do some landscaping right here around it, so it kind of hides that little bit of a gap. I couldn't get that exactly perfect per se, but I think it turned out just fine and serves as like a barrier to the end of that slope. And I really like how that looks. I think that looks really cool. It definitely covers up the hole, and that is the point of that. So I had a few issues with my recording software. I currently use NVIDIA GeForce, just the recording that is part of the GeForce experience. A lot of people probably roll their eyes at that if you're a YouTuber or a video recorder. Why don't you use OBS? Why don't you use OBS? Well, I do have OBS. The reason I don't use it is, for whatever reason, when I use OBS and record, and of course I speed up the highlights of my videos, so that way you're not sitting here for hours upon hours. It just does not cooperate with my video editor. It makes it where it's very, very difficult to do a voiceover because I can't even tell what's going on. It's so choppy and laggy. Don't know why. I haven't really figured out why. Excuse me. My good friend Brian said he was going to try to help me figure out how to get my OBS working properly, but I got GeForce working again. But for whatever reason, what was happening with GeForce was as soon as I would push record, it would literally just stop recording almost simultaneously. And when I got on the old Google machine and tried to figure out how to fix it, there was no remedy, and there's actually people that had the same problem, and apparently that problem goes way, way back. So it's something that I guess GeForce has never really put too much thought into and figured out. You would think, since we have to update our GeForce card drivers all the time, they would have figured that out, but they didn't. Anyway, so we put in a little curb. Here's some prop flowers. These are actually vanilla prop flowers, but they actually look pretty good there. And that covered it up nicely. You will be seeing a few little variations in the brightness and things like that. And that's just mostly because I had to stop recording several times and reboot City Skylines, and I didn't always pay attention to exactly where my sliders were as far as my latitude and longitude. So I apologize for a little bit of a different look. It's the same theme and everything like that, same LUT, all that, but I just didn't have the sun positioned exactly the same, so some of this might look a little brighter than the rest. I tried to kind of do some post-processing on the brightness, but it doesn't always work out that way. I'm just going to go through and where this really nice looking lawn ends, I'm just kind of putting in some bushes and stuff to kind of go along those corners. Here I am adding another slope, but instead I'm using the medium 2x1, so it kind of goes all the way down. And then you can use your slope smoother tool in your terraforming. Oh, I didn't mean to say that. Did it hear me? No, it didn't hear me. You can use the slope tool there in your terraforming to dang it, to bring that hill down, and it kind of will match your slope network quite nicely. You just got to kind of play with it. A little trial and error, as a lot of things are on City Skylines. So here I've installed a wall that just runs down this drive, this little road here, and then we're going to bring that same type of wall. We're just using the prop line tool to make sure that this looks very nice and proper. We're just going to go all the way down. So this is a huge property. That's a huge corner over there that I'm not utilizing at this time. I might eventually, but I think I might just put trees in there. I like these little corner posts. They look perfect for the entrance of this mansion. And we're going to use our node controller, take out those weird looking crosswalks. I can't get those arrows to go away. I know there's a way to do it. I'll figure it out. I'm going to figure it out eventually. Hey, we're putting in a pool! Yeah, we're putting in a pool here. So what I did here is I'm using procedure objects using these concrete slabs. I think these are actually designed to be part of like interstate entrance and exits to make those look more realistic. But here I am using them to make this pool kind of stand out. And this pool is going to overlook the ocean. It's going to be absolutely beautiful. We're going to cover this up with surfaces so we can get some really nice looking decals on the top of this concrete. You cannot put decals directly onto this concrete procedure object that we're using, so the ploppable concrete here is definitely a must. Now we're going to use these very fancy looking decals. I love these little white decals. I have not used them that often, but they look very ritzy indeed. Copied and pasted one of the surfaces of the procedure object concrete thing, a majiggy. And now we are going to expand it out just a little bit further out this way. This will serve kind of as a back entrance to the pool and allow our guest to the mansion to go out the backside and go into this beautiful lawn. Then we'll just extend these decals over from the sidewalk, and now we are going to use this little circle concrete staircase. This is part of a fountain set, I believe. This is the base to the fountain, and we're turning it into a procedure object, and then we're just going to kind of use these as stairs. They're nice and round. I think they look good in this spot. I was going to build a little staircase, but I decided, you know what, we'll just go with this route. I think this looks a lot better. Just going to add some of these hedges in here. Going to put some sort of wall around this pool for a little bit of privacy. You can't really see this pool from anywhere except for the second floor of our first mansion. So a lot of the park goers and people that are on the historical tour of the mansion over there are going to be able to kind of peep in over here at this pool. So no skinny dipping, rich folks. You will get caught and you will be on social media butt naked. So I'm putting some curbs up here. We're going to actually put in some palm trees right here at the top of this concrete. Thought this would look good to have up here at the top. Kind of get my procedure objects going in the right direction here. We're actually going to use these light up palm trees that are props. I think that will look pretty cool. And it'll light up at night. Yay! Now we're going to give this pool area a little bit of privacy by putting in this very elaborate fancy fence around the edge of our pool area. I really like how this kind of sticks out. Elevated like that, I think Makes a difference in the way it overall kind of looks, kind of the vibe. And it kind of looks over that coast. Really just not a better view anywhere in the city of the ocean than this one right here, I would argue. So we're taking the staircase from the other side and we're just moving it over, copying and pasting using move it with our procedure objects. And now we have an entrance on the other side. So you can basically get to the fancy part of the lawn from the pool. What a great place to host a gigantic party or something like that. It would just be tremendous. Let me know in the comments who you think lives here. Is this the mayor's house? Is this Hank's house? It might be. He's definitely got plenty of money after campaigning and not spending it all on ads. We know that didn't cost him all that much.
That's Hank for mayor.
So what I'm doing here is extending the front entrance around, so I just move that rail over. And then we're going to add some finishing details to the pool area. Got this curve here that you can actually raise up. I gotta find the right palm tree. I want to have a little palm tree here for some shade. Maybe not that one though. That's a little bit too big. Let's see. I got so many palm trees. Oh, this one looks good. We'll just use that one. And then we are going to add some cabanas and things of that nature. Raise these up. These are King Lino props, I do believe. I've used them before on the beach, but not in a pool setting. So here we have multitudes of different cabanas and things of that nature. Actually I did spend some time in a cabana one time in Las Vegas. They are super expensive. You actually have to rent them. I was going along with somebody that had the money to do it. I did not pay for it, but it was awesome. There's a waitress service and all that. You can get drinks and everything brought to you. I could have just stayed there the entire time, but when I'm on vacation, I always like to wander about. So I did wander about. I should have just stayed at the cabana. Vegas is a bad place to walk around. There's a little bit too much to do, I guess you could say. Should have just stayed at the cabana. These cabanas, we have these ones that are just like shade, and then this one here close to the palm tree is actually a bed. I mean, wouldn't that be just awesome? A place to live, just to lay out by this pool overlooking the ocean. Got this little shed here to keep your pool equipment and things like that. Right over here in the corner, out of the way. And then over here I'm actually using like an air conditioning unit to make it look like kind of like a big pump or filter type thing. This pool actually does warm up, so if you want some warm water, it is capable of that. Let's use this little ploppable surface to fill in that gap there. I think we're about done. Well, that about does it for this episode of The Suburbs. I hope you enjoyed watching it as much as I enjoyed building it. I'm kind of envious of this mansion. I would love to live in a place like this, but this is a place for some extreme rich people, not somebody with 275 subscribers on YouTube. I loved how this turned out though. I love this little pool area. I installed some lighting there, so you see that rail, covered it with some vines. I really like how that looks. It's kind of slanted over from the weight of those lights. Maybe it was like something they used to use for something else, and now it's for holding in these party lights so people can actually see what they're doing out here. And the party is always happening. It's always a party on This Old Gamer. My YouTube channel is never a dull moment. I thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the episode. And we will continue on these mansions right down the coast next time on The Mansions. Hit that like button if you enjoyed today's episode, and we will see you around. I'm This Old Gamer. Thanks for watching. Have a good one. Bye-bye.